Hey guys, happy Monday! Happy first Monday of October. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Abracurt, a certified integrative life and wellness coach and lifestyle designer, and you are watching my series, Sparked. Sparked is a weekly lifestyle series and its own vibrant online community. In every episode, we light the fire of connection, reflection, and inspiration around all things personal growth, wellness, and the world around us. So, if you're a dreamer, a doer, or anyone who's just looking for a more meaningful, joyful, or fulfilling life and an inspiring community to share it with, you're in the right place, my friend. So, say hi, let me know you're here, and start connecting. Hi, Scott. Thank you so much for being here. My husband, always the first person to comment and say hi and let me know he's here. So as you're hopping on, please say hi, let me know you're here, and start connecting. Hi, Mama Vicky. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Monday. Okay, so for those of you who have tuned in before, you know that every month here, hi, Donna. Thank you so much for being here. Every month here at Sparked, our content aligns around a unique theme. And every week we connect around a relevant topic, reflect on its meaning and importance in our lives, and I share tips and resources to inspire you to take action and make an impact in your own life. Hi, George. Thank you so much for being here. Rose, Georgie, hi. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It is the first Monday of October. I am so excited to kick off a new month, a brand new theme. The month of October is going to be centered all around our best selves. It is a topic I am so excited to talk about. I could talk about being our best selves and showing up and shining our lights and being our brightest all day, every day. And that is what tonight's episode is all about. To kick off our Best Selves Month, we are going to be talking about letting our light shine. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you're hopping on, please say hi in the comments. Let me know you're here and connect with others in the community. All right, so tonight is all about letting our lights shine. We are going to go deep into what it means to actually live and show up as our best selves beyond kind of those surface cliches. We're going to talk about 5 kinds of shade throwers in our lives. I'm going to share my number 1 tip for bringing light to the darkness in our world. And I think we could all use some tips on that right now, right? And I'm also going to share some tips and resources to inspire you to shine your light even when it feels a little dim. And sometimes we all feel a little bit dimmer, right? And so hopefully you'll take away some great advice, some connections in the community, and I'm looking forward to diving in. So if that all sounds like a heck yeah to you, please send up some hearts for letting our lights shine. Please send up some hearts for our lights in this community, and please hit that share button. Hit that share button and let's light up our social feeds with some positive vibes, because we all know the world could use some more of those right now. You'll also see some links to support our content and community. And every week at Sparked, we pay that forward with a 10% contribution to charity, to organizations doing great work, maybe here in our local community where I live in Northern Virginia, or across the country and across the world. I'd like to take a moment to thank some very special people who have supported our community and content in the last week. I'd like to thank Georgie. I'd like to thank Jane. I would like to thank Debbie. And I would like to thank my sweet mother-in-law, Vicky. Your support means so much. It allows us to bring this content to our community every single week. And as I mentioned, we pay it forward with that 10% contribution to charity. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this week's charity in a little while. But before we kick off our content for the night, you know what comes first here at Sparked. You guys know what comes here first. Hi, Trish. Hi, Bob. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is time for the quote of the week. And I think I actually got it out tonight before my husband said, quote, quote. So yeah, tonight's quote is a little bit different though. It's a little bit different. So tonight I'm actually going to share a full poem with you guys. It's not going to be too long, but I want to share a full poem with you because it's so personally meaningful to me. I feel like it's just so powerful. It's so profound, and it's so freaking on point with our topic tonight of letting our light shine. It is by a woman I admire greatly and someone who I consider one of my own spiritual teachers. Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for being here. So tonight's quote of the week is actually the poem Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. And she writes, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same." So you guys, that is Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Those words just give me goosebumps every time I read them. That poem has been attributed to so many different people. I think it was attributed to Nelson Mandela even at one time because it's just so profound. But those are the words of Marianne Williamson about letting our lights shine. And I wanted to share those as kind of the quote of the week this week to kick us off, to get us in the mindset of letting our light shine. Hi, Nico. It is so great to see you here. Thank you for being here. Nico is a friend I met just about a year ago, you guys. I think she is new. This is her first time in our community. I met her a year ago at a weekend retreat in Maryland, the Live Brave weekend with another great teacher of mine, Margie Worrell. And it's so great to see her here. So many of us came away from that weekend feeling bolder and braver and shinier and brighter and ready to just kind of give our gifts to the world. And I know that weekend lit the spark for me in so many ways. It was the jumping off point for bringing my life coaching to make manifest and to start launching my programs. Eventually, it would lead to this community. So, Nico, it's great to see you here. Thank you for being here. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much. The words of Marianne Williamson got us in the mind frame. She's talking about letting our light shine, and that's what we are here to talk about tonight. So right now, I'm going to ask you guys to share your shine in the comments. So this is an interactive community. I would love for you guys to share your shine, and I want you to think about and share something that you do that shines your light in the world. It could be anything. It could be about the way you parent. It could be something that has to do with your work in the world. It could be volunteering in your community. It could be singing in church. Whatever it is that you would like to share with us that you believe shines your light in the world, please take to the comments and share, because I want to read all about it. I think everybody else in our community wants to read about it. We want to light up each other and share the ways that we shine our lights on the world. So that is what I want to ask you to do first. Take to the comments and share some ways that you shine your light brightly in our world. For me, it's about coaching, right? It's about helping people access the tools and build the skills and uncover and get clarity around their passions and things in their own lives that change their lives. For me, it's about showing up here every week in this community with you all. It's about bringing some tips and tools and concepts to life for this community, because I know that you all leave here and you share them with your communities, and it pays forward and it pays forward and it pays forward. So that for me is, I think, one of the biggest ways I shine my light. Scott says, playing music for others. Absolutely. When Scott shares his talent with the world, it lights my heart up when he shines his light. Vicky says, being the best mom and grandma. And I can personally say she sure is. She is the best mother-in-law a girl could ask for. She raised some amazing sons. And I can speak for her grand kiddies here in our house and say she is very much loved. George says, cook and serve a nice meal. Yeah, when we can feed people and give our love through our food, that's a great one, George. Thank you for sharing that. If anyone else would like to share in the comments ways that you shine your light in the world, please take to the comments and do that. I want to read those, share them with the community, and I promise I read every single comment. Even if I don't shout it out tonight, I go through every single comment the next day and reply and thank people and respond. So please share your thoughts in the comments. Janet said, just this weekend, she baked a ziti and chocolate cupcakes with chocolate ganache for one of her son's friends and his dad, since their mom is working in Boston till the end of the year. Janet, that is awesome. Yes, food and art, showing our love through our food. Such a great way. You and George have that in common. Nico says, she shines her light into the world by encouraging greatness. Yes, and Nico, you are so great yourself. I love that. Encouraging others to be great, allowing and encouraging others to dig deep, and being courageously authentic. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Georgie says, raising successful children and cooking for the poor. Georgie, thank you. You have been a constant light in this community, so thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your light with us here every single week. All right, you guys. So if there are others who are still going to share, please do. I want to read ways that you are sharing your light with the world. I also want to dig into our content for this evening, because we've talked about how in very specific ways we are all already bright shining lights for the world, right? In the words of Marianne Williamson, it's not just some of us, okay? It is all of us. It is in all of us. So even if it's not obvious to you right now, even if you don't realize it, I promise you there are ways that your light shines for this world and for other people. So think about it. If you feel like sharing it in the comments, please do. We're going to dive into some content right now. And now that we've shared sort of some specifics about us, I want to talk about what it means for us to show up every single day, being our best selves, right? Our topic for October, and shining brightly, showing up and living as our best selves all of the time on a regular basis, right? This is not specific to any one person. These are things that we can all do kind of beyond those surface things, right? Because I know for me, like getting out of bed, taking a shower, doing my hair, doing my makeup, right? Putting on some jewelry that makes me feel good, or a great outfit that I love. Like those are the surface things that make us feel like our best selves. Like I made some effort today. I put some work into myself today, right? But what does it really mean to kind of dig deep and think about what it means to be our best selves and to show up and to shine bright every single day? Donna is sharing that she helps those she consults for to achieve strategic outcomes. Yes. And Donna has helped me work on my own business and has been a driving force for many of the ways that I've shown up in the world. So Donna, thank you for all the things that you do. Trish says, sharing her soul and love with friends and family who've been placed in her path. Yes, Trish, you do. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your heart and soul and light with me and with our community. We appreciate you so much. Okay, you guys. So what does it mean on a daily basis to show up as our best selves, to shine bright, right? Beyond that surface stuff. Like I put on some makeup, I did my hair today, I'm in a super cute outfit, I'm rocking it and feeling good, right? But what does it mean deep down inside to go beyond those kind of surface cliches, right? So I want to share 4 ways that I think we all show up as our best selves. I want to share 4 concepts that I think really get to the heart of what it means to be our best selves and to shine bright in this world. And number 1 is about proactively cultivating our 4 pillars of wellness. And for those of you who have been in this community before, you've heard me talk so many times about our 4 pillars of wellness, right? Our mental and emotional health, our physical health, and our spiritual health. So, our 4 pillars of wellness: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Proactively cultivating those things on a daily basis, activating the whole of ourselves, right? Rose says her nursing career and working with pediatric patients at home, their lights shine in her. Rose, I'm sure they do. Thank you so much for sharing yourself that way with people who need it most. And I know Rose has shared in our community before that she's making masks right now during the pandemic and sharing her creative talents as well in that regard. So, Rose, thank you so much for all you do. Okay, guys, so we're cultivating our 4 pillars of wellness: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health and wellness. That is the number 1 way we can show up, be our best selves, and shine bright every day, right? When we're cultivating our whole selves proactively on an ongoing basis. We're paying attention to that balance, right? Because that's where I see balance as being most important in our lives. People talk a lot about work-life balance and what that looks like. I think about our balance as whole people and what our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health means and looks like. So that's number 1. Number 2 is always leading with kindness, compassion, and empathy, right? Going high, always leading with our best virtues and values, right? Knowing our core values, leading with those, being kind, compassionate, and empathetic people. And you guys, I want to share something that I read today, and it was in, you guys know I love cutting things out of the Washington Post, out of the daily newspaper. And it just so happens this morning I'm reading the paper. I already have our content all planned out for tonight. And there's an article in the Kids Post section of the Washington Post today, which is a daily page in the Washington Post that's designed for younger readers so they can relate to things that are happening in our world and get some tips to live their best lives. And this article was about how helping others can lift your spirits. And we've talked about that a lot here on Sparked, about ways that giving back and serving others really lights up our own joy centers in our hearts and in our lives, right? But I want to share something really specific about this article because it actually hurt my heart a little bit. And it's why always leading with kindness, empathy, compassion, caring about other people and the world around us is so important, because I want to share this, you guys. In 2014, there was a survey of 10,000 middle and high school students that showed that 80% of them, 80%, okay, 80, it's way high majority, 80% of them said their personal happiness was more important than caring about other people. 2014, 10,000 middle and high school students, 80% of them, that's 8,000 out of 10,000, said their personal happiness was more important than caring about other people. Here's the kicker, you guys. When they were asked why, they indicated that because they thought that's what was important to their parents. Because they thought that's what was important to their parents. They thought in their parents' lives, their own personal happiness was more important than caring about other people. So y'all, it is so important to model kindness, compassion, empathy, caring about other people, caring about the world around us. Because if any of us have littles in our lives, and we all do on some level, right? Whether we're, human baby parents or not, or we're aunts and uncles or grandparents, or, we're in our faith communities, or we're volunteers, or we're teachers, or we all interact with young people in some way, and they're paying attention. They're paying attention to what we think is important, to how we conduct ourselves, to how we conduct our lives, and they're learning the lessons. And so for us to model kindness, compassion, empathy, caring about other people is going to mean so much to the next generation that is coming behind us, right? Because how many times have we, or even we've heard other, older people say, right? Like, oh, kids today, right? Kids today, with their attitudes and their whatever, right? You guys, they learned it somewhere, right? They learned it somewhere, and it's, from the adults around them. So number two, to show up as our best selves, to shine bright in the world around us, lead with kindness, compassion, empathy, and caring about other people. Christine, hey, thank you so much for being here tonight. I so appreciate it. I know you can't stay. Rock out your class, rock out your work, and be like the amazing force I know you are. Nico said, yeah, that's really eye-opening. It's amazing what young people can teach us when we listen, right? Because that really is, Nico, that is a lesson for all of us about how we are living and the messages we are telegraphing to young people. 80%, their personal happiness was more important than caring about other people, because that's what the adults around them, that's what they thought the adults around them felt like. All right, you guys. Number three, and Nico, I think this one's going to speak to your heart, because you talked about how this is how you're shining your light in the world. So number three, showing up bravely and authentically. Showing up bravely and authentically. And for you guys who saw the Facebook event image that I used as the cover image for the event for this episode tonight, there were two photographs I used for this episode. One is a classroom of like children, and these, they're raising their hands like really vigorously, like me, pick me. And then there's the Be Brilliant neon sign in the middle, and then the other photograph on the end is a young woman who's walking down this beautiful beach, and the sun is shining behind her, and she's just like radiant and letting her light shine, right? And so showing up bravely and authentically, right, starts when we're young, right? With those young kids, it's raising our hand in class, it's being brave, it's being bold, it's not dimming ourselves, right? In the words of Marianne, in the words of the poem I shared earlier, it's not playing small, because that doesn't serve us and it doesn't serve the world. It's being courageous and authentic. It's raising our hands in class, and as adults, it's leaning in, right, in places where our voices matter, whether it's in conference rooms at work, or it's about our community and the world around us, whether it's getting involved in civic groups and, our work as citizens, right? It's showing up courageously, bravely, authentically. Right? Okay. Number four, cultivating and expressing gratitude. Cultivating and expressing gratitude and giving of ourselves, right? The ways we give back to the world. These are the deep things. These are the things that really show us at our best, right? Our four pillars of wellness, being our whole selves, leading with kindness, compassion, and empathy, right? Showing up bravely and authentically, cultivating and expressing gratitude, and giving of ourselves. So that, beyond those surface cliches of like, I put some makeup on today and I'm in a super cute outfit, these are the things at the heart of our best selves. All right. Yes. Okay. But we all know, right? Like, some days it's easier said than done. Some days it's easier said than done. And there are a lot of things in the world that, what I call throw shade on our light, right? A lot of things. It's, the bad news of the world. It's, a, tough day at work, right? It's, a crushing list of responsibilities and, duties maybe we have at home. It's an argument with someone, right? There's just all kinds of things from an external standpoint that throw shade on our light. There are also 5 kinds of shade throwers in the world around us, specifically kinds of people, I think, right? That throw shade on us and our light. And sometimes, you know what? We let them, and it happens and it dims our light. And I want to talk about 5 kinds of shade throwers and things to look out for. All right. So, number one is frenemies, right? Frenemies. And you guys know what I mean by frenemies, right? It's those like backhanded friends, right? It's like, oh, like she says she's my friend, but then she says stuff like, honey, I don't know if you can get away with wearing a dress like that. Or I don't know, should you take that in like class? Are you capable of doing all these things, right? It's the backhanded compliments. It's the shady advice, right? From people disguised as our friends, but who throw shade on our light. Frenemies. Okay. Number 2, haters. Haters. These are the critics, you guys. We talked a little bit about critics in last week's episode when we were talking about the Everything is Figure Outable book. Number 2, the haters and the critics, right? And I want to say something. There's a quote that I love about critics, and I didn't share it last week, and I want to share it this week. And I may have said it like, episodes ago, because it's in my head all the time when somebody like, dings me for spending too much time doing something or whatever, right? I'm not focusing on the things they think I should be focusing on. You will never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You will only be criticized by people doing less. You'll never be criticized by people doing more than you, because people doing more than you are focused on doing more. They are focused on their lives. They are focused on all the to-do list, that they have. They are focused on shining their light in the world and not focused on throwing shade on other people, right? The critics, the haters, right? They're the ones that are like hating on themselves. And I think it was Vicky who said this last week about the naysayers, right? So these people, may criticize and throw shade on us, right? They may dislike us, but trust me, they feel worse about themselves. And that is what is at the root of their criticism. That is what is at the root of their criticism. Those kinds of shade throwers. All right. Number 3, and it's, kind of seasonal, this one, vampires. The vampires in our lives. And I don't mean, Count Dracula, right? But it is kind of funny because it's coming up on Halloween and it's one of my favorite times of the year. But no, the vampires. The vampires who want to suck the life and light out of us, right? With like the complaining and the nagging. And it's not the haters and the critics or the frenemies, but it's just the constant like darkness that the vampires need to exist in, right? And y'all know somebody in your lives, like we're all thinking about that one person or people, right, who just complain all the time and seem like they prefer the darkness. They prefer the negativity of the world. That's where they thrive. They love sharing the really mean, nasty memes on social media. They love talking about how much they hate other groups of people, right? We all know the vampires, and they want to suck the light out of the world. So that's number 3 kind of shade thrower. Number 4 are the ones I call the Amish, because they shun us. They shun us. They're the ones who just avoid and reject and just like won't even have anything to do with us because of our light and the light that we're putting out in the world. And I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Molly Roncal. She has a line of cosmetics. She was a esthetician. She's done like Beyonce's face and all these famous faces, and she started her own cosmetics line, Molly Roncal. I follow her on Instagram, and she's so positive and she's so sassy. And I actually got to see her speak live at a conference last year, and it was such a highlight because she just oozes like all the good energy and good vibes. And she posted this really awesome quote on Instagram a while back, and I'm like, I'm going to use that somewhere. And tonight tonight is that night, y'all. So she posted a quote that really gets to the heart of the people who just like reject us because of our light. And she said that there are people who will reject you just because you shine too bright for them. That's okay. They don't pay your light bill, so just keep shining. They don't pay your light bill, so you just keep shining. I love that. That's just such a way to shut down the shade, right? You don't pay my light bill, so I am just going to keep shining. All right, so those are the first four: the frenemies, the haters, the vampires, and the Amish, the shunners, the rejectors, right? The fifth kind of shade thrower, though, is the most insidious. This is the most harmful shade thrower, and this is the one that does the most destruction in our lives. And that shade thrower is our shadow selves. It's our shadow selves. It's us, you guys. It's the negative voice in our head that tells us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not the enoughness to fit whatever situation it is we're thinking about. It's the fears in us that stop us before we even get started. The worst shade thrower in our own lives can be us, ourselves, our own shadow selves, okay? So the most important thing we can do is to start looking out for those cues, right? To be mindful when we hear them, whether it's from an external source or from our own selves, okay? And shut them down before the shade dims our light for good, right? Shut them down before our light goes out. Okay. So I also mentioned at the top of the show that I was going to share my number one tip for bringing light to a dark world, because you guys, I know a lot of us walk through 2020 like with a like umbrella. What is gonna fall out of the sky and hit me next, right? There's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of darkness in, you know, the world. People have lost loved ones. There has been so much light thrown on all of the injustices in our world, so much strife, so much inequality, right? This year has cracked us open in terms of our awareness of things that we can't just turn a blind eye to anymore, right? But it's also shown us like there's a lot of darkness in the world, right? There's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of people who don't have light. And I want to share a tip for bringing light to that darkness, for bringing light to those dark places, right? And my number one tip for doing that, you guys, is tapping into our own light, right? Tapping into our own spark and using it to light another candle. Using our spark, our light, to light a light in someone else, okay? It's the most important thing we can do in this world, you guys. Think about it, right? It's like the analogy of a power outage, okay? Like the lights go out and it's total darkness and you're, you know, fumbling around. You find, you know, your flashlight on your phone or whatever, right? People still have actual flashlights. So you light your own light, right? It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first. But then you walk around to other rooms, right? And you turn on those lights. And you can start feeling your way around a little bit better. You can start see what's going on now, right? You're not as scared because, you know, when the power goes out, when there's darkness, right? We're like, oh, why did that happen? It's a little scary, right? It's disorienting. So using our light to light other candles, right, is like turning on those light switches in other rooms. And whether it's a kind word, whether it's empathy, whether it's volunteering in our community, right? Georgie said, she cooks meals for the underprivileged, the disadvantaged in her community. There are people who, use their talents of, sharing their food and cooking with other people, right? There are so many ways that we have to light candles in others in times of darkness. And so that is my biggest tip for bringing more light to this world, to the darkness when we feel it. Use our light to light another candle, because pretty soon all the lights in the house are on, right? And it doesn't feel so dark and disorienting, right? It's like we light those candles in other rooms. The whole house is illuminated. We can see our way around. We know what's going on. We see other people, right, that we couldn't see before when the lights were all out, right? It's illuminating the darkness. It's illuminating the darkness. And I have to share, my favorite local newspaper that I always clip things out of, the Washington Post, that is delivered to our door every day. Their slogan, I have to share with you guys tonight because it's so perfect. The official slogan of the Washington Post is "Democracy dies in darkness." And so they are all about like shining a light on issues in the world around us, right? And educating readers and shining that light on things that are happening in the world. So I want to share that. Great slogan, "Democracy dies in darkness," because so many things die in darkness and so many other things can thrive in the darkness, right? When we were talking about like the shade throwers, the vampires, the people that like sucking the light out of the world, right? The darkness is places where people and situations and conditions like that thrive. So we want to shine as much light as possible on the world, share our light with others, and get rid of the darkness, right? Okay, so speaking of lighting the darkness, it's time for some good news, y'all. And you know that I love to share a little snippet of good news in my shows, just like my husband shares good news in his weekly live concerts, right? I've actually renamed mine, though. I love to get creative with naming things. And so I have renamed my good news segment. I'm now calling it Moment of Joy. I'm calling it Moment of Joy because one of my favorite news shows to watch is CBS Sunday Morning. It's actually the only news show I watch because I don't like network news. It's it's a shade thrower in my life. All of the talking heads, it doesn't matter what network it is, it's all just like too much noise, right? I read my news, take it in at my own pace, and but I do love watching CBS Sunday Morning because I think it's a little bit more of a lifestyle show. The things that they talk about, and just it's done in a different way, right? It's not all the pundits and opinions and all the things. So anyway, I am naming Moment of Joy after a segment that I love about CBS Sunday Morning called Moment of Nature. It's what they end their show with every single week. And Scott and I can't wait to see what the Moment of Nature is, right? Whether it's a bunch of bears running around in like the Smoky Mountains National Park, or it's some like under the sea footage, or, whatever it is. Moment of Nature is always one of my favorite parts of CBS Sunday Morning. And so I was inspired by that segment to call my good news segment here at Sparked Moment of Joy. All right, so you guys, my moment of joy this week is to let you all know. Do you guys see what this is? It's my fat little black bear. It is Fat Bear Week, you guys. It is Fat Bear Week, and I can't even tell you how much joy it brought to my life to read about Fat Bear Week. So I'm going to tell you guys about it right now. Okay. Fat Bear Week is, and you guys can go to explore.org, explore.org. It's part of our National Park service, right? Okay. It's official National Park website, explore.org. Fat Bear Week is an annual tournament celebrating the success of the bears at Brooks River in Katmai National Park in Alaska. So this is like Bristol Bay, Alaska, where all the salmon are just like all of the, reserves of salmon, right? And so Katmai National Park, Bristol Bay, Alaska, Fat Bear Week takes place. It's a tournament with actual live bears from the national park who are photographed, and they put them up on explore.org. All right, because here's what's important about fat bears. Okay. Alaska is a wild region that is home to more brown bears than people, and the largest, healthiest runs of sockeye salmon left on the planet. So bears and salmon, food chain, you guys, right? So why do we care about fat bears? All right, well, each winter, we know bears hibernate, right? And snuggled up in their dens during the winter, hibernating, they endure months-long famine. And so they don't eat or drink, and they actually lose a third of their body weight. A third of their body weight. Can you imagine? So their winter survival depends on accumulating ample fat reserves before entering their dens. Katmai's brown bears are at their fattest in late summer and early fall after a summer spent trying to satisfy their profound hunger, eating all those salmons in the healthy run of the Brooks River, right? Okay, so, and bears like all face their own challenges and need their fat reserves for different things, right? So if you think about mama bears, right, they need their fat reserves to, support the birth and growth of their cubs. The juvenile bears who are just starting to live on their own for the first time, they have a whole host of dangers to like navigate, and they're learning how to find food for the first time, right, without their mama bears. So fatness in bears is important. And you guys, if you go to explore.org, there is a live bear cam. The tournament runs through tomorrow. You can go there tonight and vote for your favorite fat bear. And they actually show a picture of before, like what the bear looked like in the summer when they were still super skinny, and what they look like now that they've eaten all the salmon and gotten nice and fat as they get ready for winter. And you guys, I can't tell you how happy it made me to take, 15 minutes one day and just look at all the fat bears and vote for my favorites, because Chunk the Hunk, you guys, is adorable, and Mama Bear Grazer are the two bears going head to head. Okay, this is where we are tonight. It's like the basketball tournament, like the bracketed tournaments, like two bears go head to head, and then it keeps going down, and then the final two, right? So anyway, it's a tournament of actual live bears who are living in one of our most healthy and vibrant national parks in Alaska. Fat Bear Week, you guys. Fat Bear Week. All right. So that is our moment of joy and nature, I guess, for this week here at Sparked. And hopefully those bears get fat and happy and have a great winter hibernation. But that also brings me to this week's charity, which is also about hunger, you guys, because while those bears are getting fat and eating all the salmon in Alaska, there are members of our own human family all around us, all across our states, all across our country, all across our world, who are struggling with food insecurity on a daily basis, okay? And so this week's charity is Feeding America. Feeding America is this week's charity. So for everyone who contributes this week to support our content and community, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we give 10% back. We pay it forward every single week to a charity doing important work in our local communities and across the country. And this week it's Feeding America. It's also really timely because just Saturday in the Washington Post, there was this article that focuses a lot on a recent study from Feeding America about so we already know that the COVID-19 pandemic has, left a lot of people food insecure and financially insecure in so many ways. And Feeding America, who is quoted extensively in this article, did a recent study in the month of August. 22.3 million adults reported that they sometimes or often didn't have enough to eat. 22.3 million adults, that is 10% of the population of our country, you guys. 10% of the population of our country. And that's not even factoring in the kids. Okay, these are the adults that responded to the survey. So that's 10% of the population before we even factor in the kids who are sometimes or often not having enough to eat. Feeding America projects over the next year a 6 to 8 billion meal shortfall, which will likely increase as federal food assistance programs begin to expire. They estimate the need for charitable food over the next year is going to reach 17 billion pounds. 17 billion pounds of food will need to be distributed through charitable means because of the shortfalls facing people in this country. Okay, that's more than triple last year. So because of the pandemic, federal assistance programs expiring, all of these conditions are tripling the need for food in our communities over the next year. And Feeding America has been rated by Forbes as a 99% efficient organization. And what that means is that 99% of contributions to Feeding America go to programs serving those at risk of hunger. So you guys, this week's charity is Feeding America. Thank you so much to everyone who has already contributed to support our content and community. If you haven't already, please consider a contribution tonight. All of our contributions will be pooled and we pay it forward with a 10% contribution to charity. This week is Feeding America. You guys, Feeding America. All right. We are almost, we are in the final quarter of our show, and I want to share some tips and resources that we can actually use to continue to shine our light when it's hard, right? Because that was heavy, you guys, right? Thinking about the hunger situation in our world, thinking about people who are going without, right? Thinking about all of the things that are happening in our world, not just in 2020, but things that are going on an ongoing basis, right? There's a lot of heaviness in the world, and sometimes it's hard to shine our light in the middle of, some of the darkness in the world, right? And so even we have our own bad days, right? We have things that rain on our parade, even without all the heaviness outside. There are things happening in our own lives, right, that make it just a little harder some days than others for our light to shine. Whether it's those shade throwers that we were talking about, right? The haters and the frenemies or whatever it is, right? We all struggle, you guys. We all struggle, and it's okay. It's part of life. I struggle. I have bad days too, okay? And I am like certified life coach with all the tools right at my disposal, and there are days that it's a struggle, okay? But I want to share some tips and resources to help us through those tough days and keep shining even when our own light, even when our own sparks feel dim, okay? So number one, I want to share something that helps me is affirmations. Affirmations, you guys. And I'm not talking about like the super generic things that are just like, oh, I'm good enough, right? I'm enough. I'm the things. Like, no, personal, deep, meaningful affirmations that speak to us, that speak to the ways that we like to shine our light, right? Or the things that we believe are faith, whatever it is, right? Personal, meaningful affirmations. And I keep affirmations like this one. I keep this affirmation framed in my office behind my desk chair. Every day I can see this when I sit down at my desk, and it reads, "The universe is filled with endless opportunities for me." The universe is filled with endless opportunities for me. And I chose this as an affirmation that I frame and keep in my office because, when you're running your own business and, you're venturing out, you leave corporate America, you do the things, it's hard and it's scary. And sometimes you're like, where is it? Are we going to get through this? And then things like the pandemic hit, and there are real worries, right? And so those affirmations, like knowing that there are endless opportunities in the universe for me, that lights me up. That reminds me, like, I can tap into the universe, to the energy, and I can tap into myself and move through this. Okay. So affirmations, things that are meaningful and personal to us. Okay. Number two, seek inspiration from like A favorite movie, right? We all have those movie characters that just like, oh, right, she's so good, she's so strong. There are like those scenes in the movies, or a favorite TV show or a book, right? That just light us up and we're like, yeah, we feel empowered just from watching it, right? For me, I go back to, I think about, and this is kind of a blast from the past, you guys, but the show Sex in the City. Where are my Sex in the City peeps, right? Like, raise your hand if you watch Sex in the City and you love that show. Because I loved the ladies of Sex in the City, and that was my jam back in the day, you guys. That was my jam. And there's an episode of Sex in the City kind of near the end as the series was winding down. It's season 6, episode 12 of Sex in the City. And one of the characters, Charlotte, had a miscarriage. And she's going through this really dark, hard period of her life. It's a hard season for Charlotte. And one of the other ladies, Miranda, had a baby who is turning 1. And it's Miranda's baby's first birthday party. And Charlotte just had a miscarriage. And she's struggling with being able to show up for her friend and show up for her friend's baby at the first birthday party. And she's not going to go. She is home. She is wallowing in the sadness that is real and hard in this season of life for her. And she turns on the TV, and there's an True Hollywood story about Liz Taylor. And it talks about all of the tragedies that befell Liz Taylor. All my Sex and the City peeps are raising their hands. Yes, I love it, you guys. I love it. Georgie, Nico, George, yes, because there are men who love that show too. Absolutely. Trish, yeah. So Charlotte watches the True Hollywood story about Liz Taylor and realizes that she overcame a ton of hard seasons and really sad, tragic things in her life. And it gives Charlotte that like boost that she needs to like, put on her outfit, put on some makeup, and show up for her friend and, try to get her own light and a spark back. So that for me is always an episode that like, reminds me like we can all go through hard seasons, and there will be that thing, that we'll just see the right thing in the right moment that lights us up. So seek inspiration from a book, movies, TV show. Number 3, along those lines, a song or a playlist, right? Whether it's the sad stuff, right, that lets you just wallow for a minute and then you get through it, or it's the super uplifting, like dance party kind of music, right, that gives you the energy that you need to like bounce back and get right up and like do the things. Whatever it is for you, right? Everybody has a favorite song, favorite playlist you listen to, and it just like, kind of washes over you, and you're able to just kind of move through, some difficult things and come out on the other side. I've actually created a playlist called Kindling the Spark for this episode, and I'm going to share it in the show notes that I will publish tomorrow and share a link. But it is, it's going to be on Amazon Music. It's a public playlist I created on Amazon Music called Kindling the Spark. And I'll share it tomorrow in the show notes. But I will share this. It kind of moves through the emotions, right? So if we're having a tough time, it starts out a little bit slower with some songs like Adra Day's Rise Up. And then it moves into some things like there's Miranda Lambert's like Mama's Broken Heart in there to kind of start, raising the tempo a little bit. And it ends with Beyonce. Because who can think of a better ending for a playlist to get us back to life, right? To reignite our spark than Queen Bee. It ends with Beyonce's song Freedom. And the end of Freedom, I just want to share with you guys, and hopefully this inspires you to check out the playlist when I publish it. And I'll share the show notes in the comments and publish them tomorrow. On my website, it will be at abracurt.com/sparked. And all of our episodes show up there with show notes. Okay. But I just want to share at the end of Beyonce's song Freedom, there's a sample of kind of an older woman's voice speaking at the end of the song. And she says the words, "I had my ups and downs, but I always find the inner strength to pull myself up. I was served lemons, but I made lemonade." And it was one of like the big, like, who's the woman in Freedom, right? Saying these really inspiring words. And it turns out it's Jay-Z's grandma, you guys. It is Jay-Z's grandmother, Hattie White. And it was taken from a speech she gave at her 90th birthday party. 90th birthday party. Jay-Z's grandma, Hattie White, talking about making lemonade out of some lemons she was served up in her life, and Beyonce samples it on the song Freedom. Oh, you guys, literally, I just got goosebumps talking about it. All right, I'm going to share that playlist tomorrow. Freedom is the last song on that playlist. All right, so everybody has a song or a playlist, though, that kind of like can pick you back up during those hard times. Number 4, recognize your sine qua non status. Okay. I don't know if anybody on the show went to law school or took Latin, and you know what sine qua non means, but it's a common phrase that, you know, in legal circles, and it's a common book dedication, actually. Somebody dedicates a book to somebody and they'll say sine qua non, and it means without this person or thing or circumstance, this wouldn't be possible. So it's the thing without which this wouldn't have happened, right? So in a book dedication, it's like, you know, if I was dedicating my book to my husband, Scott, right? He's my sine qua non. Without him, it wouldn't have been possible for me to, you know, put this work out into the world or whatever. So recognize your sine qua non status, right? What are you indispensable for? Who are you essential to, right? Because every single one of us, essential, necessary on so many ways to so many people, we don't even recognize it, right? And speaking of like movies or TV shows or books, right, that like can inspire us, and I know this is gonna be cheesy, you guys. I'm just gonna warn you right now. There's gonna be a little bit of cheese here right now, but it's one of my favorite holiday movies of all time. If you think about the movie It's a Wonderful Life, right? It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. Okay, I went there. There's some cheese. But I love it, you guys. I love it. That movie, I can't help it. I tear up every single time I've watched it. My husband and I watch it every single year on New Year's Eve or on Christmas Eve when we're wrapping Christmas gifts. And George Bailey, right? Like having a really hard season of life, and he's thinking about ending his life. And he's given the gift of an angel who comes down to visit him and show him what life would have been like if he were never born. And so George Bailey gets to see the lives of all of these people he has touched and all of the ways that he has enriched their lives and made the world a better place by virtue of existing. Because he's shown all of the horrible things and ways that the world, would turn out if he weren't around, right? And so that's what sine qua non means, right? It's George Bailey and It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, Scott said he loves that movie. Sex and the City peeps, my It's a Wonderful Life peeps. Yeah. All right, so I went there. All right, but have your George Bailey moment, right? Have your George Bailey moment and recognize, you are indispensable. You've touched lives that you may not even be aware of and have set things in motion that have had repercussions, that have made someone's life better, that you may not be aware of, but if you weren't here, those things wouldn't have happened, right? And so that can just light us up, like thinking about like all the lives that we have touched and all the ways that we're essential. Like people need us, and we have to rekindle that flame, rekindle that spark, and show up because we are necessary. Okay, so that's what sine qua non means. All right, number 5. When our light feels a little dim, sometimes maybe we need to ask ourselves, is it something else, right? Is there something else going on? Maybe it's, it's been going a little too long. We need to ask ourselves, is it physical? Is there something physical going on that I'm just pushing aside and saying, oh, it's, it's just the weather, like I've been working too hard, or this or that, and we're ignoring some real physical symptoms for ourselves, right? Or even if it's just a long day and we have a really bad headache and we realize like, God, I didn't drink any water today or something like that, right? Pause and ask ourselves if it could be physical. and think about what we might need to do, right? If it's, just moving our bodies, right? Getting up and moving because our back's been hurting because we've been sitting too long, or eating something, right? Eating something to get some energy back, or something healthy. Drinking some water, right? Hydrating, because, going long periods of time without drinking the water, it's going to have some negative effects. Taking some vitamins, right? Getting those boosts of vitamins. Like, I will never forget when I had a really severe vitamin D deficiency. Oh my gosh, that like wrecked me, you guys, wrecked me. It was affecting me psychologically, mentally. I like was off balance, like all kinds of things, brain fog, all the things. It turns out it was a vitamin D deficiency. So when the light feels a little dim and it, could be something physical. So move the body, eat, take our vitamins. If it's ongoing, see our doctors, right? See our doctors. And number 6, tip for shining bright even when our light feels dim. Universal. Universal. This works for everything, right? Like something's on the fritz. What do? Unplug it and plug it back in again. Unplug it and plug it back in again. So take a nap, right? Go to bed, get some sleep, sleep on whatever that feeling is, whatever that season is. See if you wake up with a new perspective, a new outlook, right? So those are 6 tips. Now I want to share 6 resources, right? Some things that you can look to in your own lives to kind of help you through some of those rough spots. So my number 1 tip was affirmations. My number 1 resource I want to share, and you guys have heard me talk about these before. I love my affirmators cards. All right, my affirmators cards. I have 3 different decks of these. I shared the creativity deck last week. This one is just their general, affirmations deck. It's how to help yourself without the self-helpiness. So these are like sassy, quirky, funny little affirmations, but they're adorable and they really do help. So I wanted to share one of the affirmator cards with you guys tonight. And so here's this little affirmator guy. He's a little duck and he's got his hoodie on and his backpack, and there's like rain falling on his head. And we were talking about shade throwers, right? Or things that rain on our parade. Okay. And the affirmator card says, don't take it personally, right? If somebody's thrown shade or it's raining on our parade, don't take it personally. And again, these are sassy, funny affirmators. It's self-help without the self-helpiness. Okay, so with that said, if someone starts to speak unkindly to me, I'll remember that they've got something going on that has nothing to do with me. I'll remember they have something going on that has nothing to do with me. Like, maybe they just pooped their pants. Yeah, that's probably it. All right, you guys. Yeah, I know. I had to share it. It's hilarious. Okay, so the affirmator cards, I love these. Don't take it personally. Maybe they just pooped their pants. That's probably it. Okay. Number 2 resource, a little more serious, but those are great. And I do love those. I will, shuffle through that deck and pick something out, and it just makes me laugh and smile. And I love those cards. Number 2 resource I want to share is the book Brave Enough by Cheryl Strayed. Cheryl Strayed wrote the book Wild, about hiking the entire length of the Pacific Crest Trail, like Oprah, Super Soul Conversations, all the things about the book Wild. She has this great little sort of mini-sized book called Brave Enough, and this is just a collection of great, like you can just read a page. They're quotes from her books, deep thoughts about life that just can help kind of motivate us and get us over those times that we need a little bit of extra help. So this is one, as an example, you just turn to any page and there's a great gem in here, right? And she's talking about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. And she said, I considered my options. There was only one. I knew there was only one: to keep walking, to keep walking. How amazing is it that I just open the book and turn to the one that tells us to keep walking, as we're talking about shining our light when it feels a little dim. So Brave Enough by Cheryl Strayed. Also, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. You guys, this is one of the most powerful books I've ever read. And its subtitle is let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. And it's about authenticity, it's about vulnerability, it's about courage and being brave. And this is a great book to tap into when we're just not feeling like our best selves, to kind of help us see, the truth of who we are, and, that little kickstart to, relight our sparks, right? So I love The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. Um, I also mentioned a little while ago, so speaking of songs and playlists, right? I created a playlist. So that is another resource I am going to share in the show notes that will publish tomorrow. I'll put a link in the comments of this episode, but you can always at any time go to abracurt.com/sparked. The show notes always publish the day after our show airs live. So these will be up by noon tomorrow, on Tuesday. And I will have a link to my Amazon Music playlist that I call Kindling the Spark, that has that great Beyonce song with Jay-Z's grandma talking about making lemonade, you guys. All right. Another book I want to share. I talked about physical health. Maybe sometimes we need to look inside when our light feels a little dim. Maybe it's something physical. I want to share this great book that came out recently. It's called The XX Brain, and this is for all my ladies in the community. You guys, I'm sorry, all you XY chromosomes, I'm sorry. This is the XX Brain, and this is science around what we as women can do to maximize our cognitive health. Because one of the things that keeps our lights shining brightest is our minds, right? Our ability to think and feel and emote, our mental health keeps us shining bright. And this great book, The XX Brain, talks about ways that we can maximize our cognitive health and prevent things like Alzheimer's and dementia. So I love this book for all my ladies in the community. All right. And the last one I want to mention, you guys, I am a certified integrative life and wellness coach. So if there's a prolonged period in our lives, right, where the songs and the playlists aren't doing it, watching that episode of Sex and the City just isn't cutting it, and you're like, I need some different level of support, a different level of accountability. I am a certified integrative life and wellness coach. I offer a range of individual and couples coaching programs, and we always have this community as well. I invite everybody, this is open to everyone, to come back here every single Monday at 7:30 Eastern. We show up, we light our sparks, we talk about topics that are relevant and timely and important to us in a range of different ways. We get inspired, we share tips, we share resources, and we light those sparks. So those are the tips and resources I wanted to share. That's our show for tonight, y'all. Thank you so much for being here with me in our first Monday of October to kick off our Best Selves month. I want to remind you guys that my book club selection for October is What Unites Us by Dan Rather. We'll be talking about this book on the last Monday of the month, because I can't think of a better book to talk about being our best selves and to talk about the things that unite all of us as Americans in this country right now, and focusing on the ways that we can unite and the things that we have in common versus all of the things in this world that are being used to divide us right now, you guys. So that's our book for the month, What Unites Us by Dan Rather. We're going to be talking about it the last Monday of the month. This is our show for tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all so much. Thank you, Nico, for joining our community for the first time. I hope we see you back here on a regular basis. It was so great to see your face, girl. Thank you, everyone. Georgie, Vicky, Scott, Rose, George, Donna, Trish. If I forgot you, Janet, everybody who I saw in the comments, thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. And I will see you